Now we're going to do selecting a harmonious color palette for our website. And I've come here to color.adobe.com where it's the color picker generator. And so here you see the different types of color. You can analogous, monochromatic, triad, complementary, compound, shades, and customs. So I think I want to do a more monochromatic color tone for my website. And I want to do more coffee colored browns. So I just, you pick what type of color scheme you'd like. If you want similar colors, you want different colors or complementary colors. I've chosen monochromatic and I wanted brown. So basically you just play with these sliders to kind of come up with what you like. Oh yeah, see, something's coming here. So I kind of like something more, not green necessarily, but more kind of neutral and brown. Something like that. Be more darker. Oh. Maybe like that. Yeah, I think I like that the best. Okay, so this brown I think is a good main color for me. So this tells me my RGB colors and my hex color code. So I'm just going to highlight this, copy it, and go back to my Photoshop. And here in this icon here is the foreground color and the background color. So the foreground colors is the color, I'm going to just double click on that. It brings me my color picker up here. And here is where I'm going to paste, Control V, the color that I had chosen. So that's the brown that I had chosen. And although you could use Photoshop to pick whatever colors you want, the advantage of using Adobe Color is to get an entire color palette of what's harmonious. So that's really why it's used. I mean, here you could certainly pick any color you want, but unless you are an expert in color theory, you won't know what colors will go with what other colors. So there's my a brown there, and I want to go and highlight. Let's see, I should color maybe this navigation bar. So I can't just click on here because I need to go to the layer that represents that box. So that's why these labels are important. So I'm going to go to, where's my menu? There's my menu. So that's the box there that I'm looking at, you see? So that's the layer that I want to color. And so I've identified my layer. I'm going to go back to my rectangle tool, which is here, but I have to go Control click because I last used the line tool, but now I want to use the rectangle tool. So I'll go back to rectangle tool, and we see that there's already a stroke, which is the outline around it, but the fill is still white. So the fill, I'm going to put in, I think that color. That's how to do it. Oh, no, I want to do fill with, how do I pick that same color? Recently used colors. Ah, that was it. See, it actually automatically puts up here my recently used colors. That's nice. All right. I don't want to create a new box, but anyways, so let me shrink that so you can see the whole thing. So there we have that. And I think I'll do that for my footer as well. So I have to find my layer that has the footer. And so that's the footer here. If I toggle on and off, you'll see that's there. And I want to put the fill in there as the same thing as well. So I'll pick that color. There we are. I don't want to really do anything too much. Remember, simple is best. If I go back to Adobe, maybe I could use some of these other colors for fonts. I mean, this is where you have to play with it. Like, I certainly don't want to use a font that's too white here because if I'm on a white background, it won't show up. So you have to consider contrast. I don't know. Anyways, so whatever you do choose, now I've just changed it. You could certainly go up here and save that palette. and then name it whatever you want or take a picture. Certainly you can save it, because if you're going to be changing back and forth a lot, you might want to save certain variations and then go back. Maybe if I want to move this around, too green, too brown. Maybe I like this gray or something. So I'll copy that hex color, which is the HTML color, go back to Photoshop, and maybe I'll do the header. So I'm just doing colors in the back of the background here. Certainly you can add in images as well. It doesn't have to be solid colors. I do want to show you one thing. I'll just put that in there. I'll double click that. I'll put this one in here. So that's my new gray brown one that I've got, and there it shows up right here. So that goes up there. I kind of like that. If I don't want to see it full opacity here, under opacity, I can make it slide it down, and it goes lighter. So if I don't want a full opacity, so there's different variations you can do. Like if this is a bit too dark, so this is just the same color, just in it's a bit more see-through, so lighter opacity, maybe something like that. Oops. And then I like my menu titles to be black, and maybe I'll have a button down here somewhere else. I'll go here to my rectangle, and maybe I'll have a subscribe here button that I want to do that color, or maybe not that color. Maybe if I go back to my color picker, it's not exactly ideal because buttons usually should stand out, but let's say I pick that color. I'll copy that, go back to Photoshop, double click on this, add that into the new color I'm using, and so this is my button, because I always want to label my layers, and here I'm going to fill that with the recent one, which is there. So maybe that's a button. I can even add a text in there. Subscribe now. Okay, so there's my text, but I don't see it in here. So I need to figure out why. So I'm going to double click, or find out where my, because it might be the same, the characters might be in the same color. So I'm going to pull up my character panel, which is this. So you see, my text is in the same color as the button, so I don't like that. So I'm going to change this color to more like black or something like that, brown. So now you see it does show up, subscribe now, but I just want to change the points to maybe 24 point, something like that. And then if I use the move tool, maybe I want to center it like there or something like that. Maybe make it, oops. Let's see what that looks like. Enter. That's okay. I can always hide that. And that's how I put colors.